Brandon Bernier, 430 East 6th Avenue. Mayor, the first thing I want to say is just congratulations again on making Roselle a sanctuary city. I just heard this morning that Mayor Baraka in Newark actually just declared Newark a sanctuary city. So apparently maybe they've seen an example set and people in the area are taking note. I too would like a general update on what's going on with our borough clerk. It's been 5 years as of May that we've had someone on paid administrative leave. You know, we can't get into specifics about what's going on, but I've asked before, a few months back, if we have any timeline on when this might be resolved.
Did you want,
Is there any timeline?
municipal attorney, are we at this point allowed to give some sort of a timeline or?
Not just yet.
Not just yet? Okay. It's pending shortly.
What is that dependent upon?
Pending shortly.
Okay.
Okay.
So last week and months ago, I asked about the DPW budget, asking how much we are running in the red since we decided to take in our own garbage. I'm wondering if in the last week anyone has gotten an actual number on that.
You could, from our CFO, you can get a spreadsheet on the DPW. He's asking about,
Correct.
are you talking about just DPW or the entire operation or specific to the
Specifically
cost
the
of doing-
garbage, but DPW in general kind of all molds around that main function. I have numbers I'd like to provide for you. In 2013, the DPW budget was roughly $3.7 million. We had roughly 15 full-time workers. As of this year, the DPW budget is $4.5 million with 45 full-time employees and 20 part-time employees as of our budget that was just put out a couple of months back. In 2009, our solid waste collection bill was budgeted for $1.95 million. In 2013, it was actually going down before we switched in 2014. In 2013, it was $1.55 million. So the amount we were paying to Roselle to collect our garbage was actually going down. In 2014, the year after, we were already losing close to $500,000 just in the DPW budget alone. As I mentioned, there are almost 4 times as many employees in DPW now, and that number doesn't take into account the added cost of health benefits, the added cost of equipment that we had to buy to run that operation. Just this year, we added $700,000 in debt in our budget for DPW equipment. So, I mean, I was asked last week to work with this council in figuring out ways to help the borough. I think this is the most prominent way to save money for this borough right now. We're looking ahead to the Mind and Body Complex. Mayor, may I have more time?
Yes, you may.
And I've come up here month after month wondering how we're going to afford the Mind and Body Complex. You know, the original plan was that we were going to bring our garbage in-house, save $500,000 a year,
$1.2 million.
right? To save money with that plan, to be able to help afford the Mind and Body Complex. 4 years later, we've seen we're not saving money there. So I think it's time we change our minds, realize we made a bad decision, and look into the possibility of going back to hiring someone to take in our garbage. The numbers are right there on paper. We can't ignore the fact that we're losing that much money. You know, if that $500,000 now to help pay for Mind and Body comes from changing our minds and hiring someone else out to be able to afford this complex, that would be wonderful. A few Mind and Body questions. We are 2 months post groundbreaking now. I'm wondering if we have any actual planned start date on that construction.
No, we don't. I spoke with our BA today. He said that they are still waiting on documents.
Okay. And, you know, I just keep coming back to how we're going to afford this. And, you know, I look at the numbers. I worked with Denise on her campaign. We went door to door across the First Ward. And what struck me, number one, was the number of people in the First Ward especially, but across the borough, you know, in my ward, that didn't even know what the Mind and Body Complex was or that this thing was happening. So that was my first major concern. We've been told over and over that there's such a groundswell of support for this complex, yet half the people that I spoke with didn't even know this thing was happening. The other 49% were not on board with the mind and body complex. They're scared of losing their homes. There are 450 plus homes already in this borough out of about 5,000 that are sitting vacant. And we keep hearing this number, 1,600 or so, that are in some stage of foreclosure. And the people we talk to day after day going door to door said that they're scared. You know, they can't pay their taxes. A woman took us into her home paying $14,000 in taxes she was already foreclosed on. She had to leave. You know, those are the stories that I saw out there. Yes, I would love to see this complex be built. You know, it's not a matter of whether or not Roselle deserves to have a new recreation center, a new school. The question is, how are we going to afford it? So that's what I'd like some answers to. Hopefully we can look more into the DPW budget, figure out a way to save money there, and maybe that will help us afford it. Otherwise, I think we're in trouble.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anyone else?